no place for sitting at home and not voting, so that allows fringe parties like the UKIP and the AEGEE to slip through the ballot box and into Brussels. But it's also no place for a protest. It's also no place for a protest vote either, given how crucial European issues are. And I think I'd be personally really ashamed if Britain's represented in Strasbourg and in Brussels by people who, first of all, deny the Holocaust, who don't believe in, rights for women or rights for members of the LGBT community, and people who want to deport British citizens. I think just have no place in elected politics. I think in terms of the expenses scandal, I think if there is any good that can come out of it, it will be some form of electoral reform in terms of Britain itself. I think that really needs to be looked at too. But just to sort of reiterate what's been said, it is going to really damage, I think, turnout. I think it's also really going to damage how people choose to vote in this election. I think it's incumbent largely upon the mainstream parties to try and work against that. I think we've probably run out of time on this particular one. I think it's something that we have to bear in mind and take forward in the future too.
I was doing a radio hustings at the BBC in Glasgow at lunchtime today, and they had a live audience, 50 people. And of course the first question was about expenses, but then they moved on, and for 45 minutes they spoke about all the big issues affecting the European campaign. So, the economy, world poverty, climate change. So, I mean, it became interesting, and it was interesting that they were prepared to move on and start talking about the real issues. But, as you say, it's getting a wee bit late in the day, we're 3 days from polling.
And can you tell us maybe more, which issues are attracting people towards UK Independence Party? And also, I have to say that traveling on a campaign trail, the only billboards that I saw on the street from the political parties were from the UK Independence Party. Mm-hmm. Is it maybe that they're putting more effort in trying to get votes? And also, can you tell us, two of you who are already in the parliament, what is actually their role there? Because I think that one of the good arguments to say to people not to vote for this kind of parties is that really in Brussels, in the way European Parliament works, no people are really not so useful, because it is a kind of parliament that works on basis of consensus and so on.
Well, I mean, there's one person who's not in the parliament. I'll do the first half
of the
question, but the second half to Mr Struan. I think in terms of UKIP, they are massively funded. I think they're funded by a sort of quite a small cabal of quite rich individuals. I think that's where they get money for billboards. I think other parties use far more sort of grassroots campaigns there. That's true across the board. And then you're right, it gives you presence. I think the appeal in them in Britain is that I still don't think British politicians really take Europe seriously. I think when stuff comes from Brussels, it's good. I think governments or whatever, you take credit for it, and I think when stuff comes from Brussels, we don't like, we blame Brussels for it. I think British politics needs to grow up a bit too and actually accept that Europe is something that's crucial in our lives, and also go out there and make the argument. It doesn't help to have a media that's sort of virulently anti-European in a lot of respects too, and that also helps to shape people's opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, they're very well funded. In fact, I think at the 2004 election, they had more money to spend on it than pretty well the rest of us put together, and they've had big donations this time around. They pander to a small section of the British public who is, I think that's just anti-Europe. Maybe harks back a little bit to the days of the Commonwealth, or maybe to the days of the Empire even, and that's going back even further. But somehow thinks that Britain can survive in a bubble.